Big day coming up at the foot of the Blue Mountains for the Penrith Panthers. It's been a disappointing start to the season. There's no other way you can describe it. There's a long way to go. They've only won 2 of their opening 6 matches. Their last title came way back in 2003. And in the last 24 hours, we now know that their CEO of football, the general manager of rugby league, is now parting ways with the club, the legendary Phil Gould. There's a board meeting at 11 o'clock today. Brian Fletcher, the CEO of the Panthers Group, has been generous enough to join us on this big morning, really, for the Panthers. Good morning, Fletch.
Morning, Terry.
What happens today, mate?
Terry, all that happens today is I take to the board that Phil has suggested that his position has become redundant, that there's no need for him anymore, and he'd like the board to accept that. And we'll discuss his contract at the board, and there's certain clauses in the contract which are confidential, and we'll sort that out, and hopefully then we'll move forward with Phil's recommendation, and he'll leave the club in the next week or so when we come to terms, and we all move on.
Fletch, was it a surprise when Gus came to you and sort of asked for that release of his contract? And did you think it was the timing was right? Did you think it had happened now, or do you think he may have lasted till the end of the year, or what's the sort of situation going to be? Do you think?
Yeah, no, Laurie, I wasn't surprised at all. I could actually see it coming because since Ivan's arrived here, he's got a 5-year contract as a coach. We've seen less of Gus coming out here because, he's been in that position now for 8 years, and as he said, like his work's done now. That we've got all these young players coming through, and they're 24, 25 years of age now. So it's really he's really handed over now and said to Ivan, righto, you're the coach, you get on with it now, I've done my job. And he always thought he'd only be here for 5 years. He's been here 8 years. So, no, it to me was no surprise.
Does it mean Ivan's won the war?
I don't think there was ever a war, Terry. He's the coach. Gus was the chief executive of the football operations. And as I said yesterday, it's a pretty kind gesture as Gus as well. He could have sat here for another 3.5 years and overlooked the football part and kept communicating with Ivan and going through all that. And but he didn't do that. He sort of put the club first and said, well, we don't need to spend that sort of money now to have that position. And it becomes redundant. We don't replace it at all. And Ivan, he just gets on with coaching the side.
Yeah, I know you haven't been there since Gus has been there, 8 years ago. Fletch, you've only been there the last 12, 18 months. But what will Gus's legacy be out there, and what's he sort of done for the club, and where's he taken the club from where it was to where it is now?
Well, Terry, Laurie, sorry, I was on the board 11 years ago, so I've been here the whole journey.
Oh, right, yeah.
So right through, and look, he's taken the club a long way. As I said before, when Gus joined the board, when Gus joined the club about 11 years ago, I joined 6 months later the board, and we were in terrible trouble. We had 112 million, we had 11 clubs, and the bank was going to close us down, and it was only Phil's contacts with James Packer that were able to borrow 10 million overnight and stay alive, or otherwise this big club at Penrith and all the other clubs would have been closed. So, look, Phil's left a very big legacy in that way, and everybody, should be very thankful to Phil for what he's done, because he's done a great job. And as you know, Laurie, and he's a football brain and everything. He's got us where we are today. We've got an academy. Okay, we haven't won a premiership. We've had a slow start, but those things will fix themselves over time.
Hand on heart, was it Gus's decision?
Yes.
So he came to you.
I've spoken to Gus over the last few weeks about it. Yeah. And he suggested, it was his suggestion that the position is redundant now.
Yep. Yeah.
So that won't be filled then, Fletch, going forward?
No need to do it, Laurie. No, we've got 3 coaches there, Cameron Sorrell, Peter Wallace, Ivan Cleary. Matt Cameron's in charge of football. He's been under Phil all the time.
Right.
He'll continue that role, and nothing will miss a beat. On we go.
Right. And what about Friday night, mate? Big game against South. Need a win.
Yeah, it'd be nice to win, wouldn't it? there'll be a bit of pressure on that game, I'd say,
Oh,
for us.
no.
But it's only a game of football, so hopefully we can win and get on with things, and things will settle down all right. And there's no dramas in the place at all. It's all great, and everybody's got a job to do. So, and the game's Friday night.
Well, a win solves a lot of issues.
It does, yeah. Well, the thing about it is, Terry, too, like we've only been beat by a try in 3 games.
Yeah.
So if we'd have scored the try instead of them, like we'd be sitting on 8 or 10 points. So you wouldn't be worried about how we're travelling in the comp. So, but we are. We've only won 2 from 6.
Brian, I know this is all old sort of news in a way, but I just want to get it clear in my head. Was there ever a handshake deal between Gus and Wayne Bennett to coach the Panthers?
I didn't see any of that. No. I didn't see. Nothing came across my desk at all about Wayne Bennett.
Yeah, because otherwise, there's a school of thought that you chose Ivan ahead of Wayne, but was Wayne ever an option?
Well, at that time, there were probably 4 coaches discussed at the time.
Yeah.
But as I said, nothing come to the board or nothing come across my desk about Wayne Bennett.
And just on a general rugby league one, mate, that structure where you have that general manager of football, then you've got the head coach under that looking after first grade and the players, and what happens on the footy field. Is that the structure going forward for Penrith? Will they Matt Cameron sort of take that sort of position? So what happens with retention, junior pathways? Is Ivan now in charge of all of that, including
Matty Cameron's always run the pathways.
Matty Cameron, yeah.
And we, since Ivan arrived here late last year, we've formed a retention committee, which is 7 people on that retention committee, which do all the buying and selling of players.
Right. Fantastic. Mate, we know it's a big day for you. We thank you for your time.
Hawkesbury.
Hawkesbury standalone come the weekend. Where are you going to be?
Well, mate, I'm on a boat with Roy Simmons, actually.
I'm sure you'll have the phone working overtime. Good on you, Brian.
Okay, thanks, boys.
There he goes, mate. Brian Fletcher, the CEO of the Panthers Group. I believe Gus's tenure there at the club has been a very successful one. I know people measure success by a premiership. I think it's a lot more than that, Loz, as far as the Panthers are concerned. You heard Brian articulate what sort of trouble they were in, and Gus helped them get out of that trouble. They've got all the makings of being a successful football club. They've just got to do it now.
Yeah, they've certainly got the talent,
the tools are there, aren't they?
They've got the money, they've got the infrastructure is there, and all they need now. And again, we joked about it there with Brian. We've discussed it on this program a number of times. Once you start winning, it breeds confidence, and it takes away all the noise from your football club, because what tends to happen then, as a media, or as the media, you work on whoever else is not playing that great and try and work out what's going wrong with their football team, and then the noise becomes louder with someone else, and you just take the pressure away from yourself.
He's got some issues himself. David Middleton is next up, the guru.